Take a look at this. Listen to this.
Here are the questions from the actual people. For Douglas, what is your reaction to the UK Supreme Court declaring that the definition of a woman is, well, we should include you in this too. It's about women, is based on biological sex and excludes transgender people. Yeah, this was a big ruling this week in England.
Big deal.
The Supreme Court,
Very
their
big deal.
definition of woman is biological sex. To put it in shorthand, J.K. Rowling won.
She did. She actually did. Yep. That was funny.
Yes. J.K. Rowling won. Everyone who said this for years has won. All the, particularly women who've been defamed and lied about and bullied and chased and much more for years, they were right. And
Fucking based.
And I just think, apart from being a statement of the obvious, isn't it amazing that the best legal minds in Britain spent years having to work out the first thing we knew as a species?
Yep, that's right.
But just to be clear, we're not saying there's not such a thing as trans, right? We're not saying there's not such a thing as someone who is, quote unquote, born in the wrong body.
I don't think people get born in the wrong body now.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a default setting for humans.
Yeah.
Like, we should acknowledge that. It's not just every time there's a baby, ooh, who knows what the fuck it is. That's crazy. But there are...
Beyond me, yeah.
But there are variations.
There are variations.
Homosexuality.
That's right. It's a continuum.
And then, you know.
The premise of this is completely wrong. The reason why the premise is wrong is because it implies that a person shouldn't be able to choose what they're doing, and the only thing that matters is what is an extrinsic variable. It shouldn't, like, I don't care whether being gay is a choice or not. If you want to suck another dude's dick, that's your right to do it. It's a free country. If you want to wear makeup and wear a dress and dress up like a girl and say you're a girl, it's a free country. You should be able to do that. So the entire premise around whether you're born in the wrong body or not, I think subverts the truth is that even if you're not born in the wrong body, you should still have the right to do whatever the fuck you want with your body because it's your fucking body. That's it. It's wrong. There's a lot of things that people do that I think are wrong. Fuck them. Let them do what they want. And I don't like the premise of this, the fixation around did they choose to do this or not. It shouldn't matter whether they chose to do it. It shouldn't matter whether they were born with it or not, because if you're an adult, you should be able to make decisions about your life, and you shouldn't have the government making those decisions for you. Agree, but leave the kids alone? So true. Yes, I don't give a fuck. Like, you wanna suck dick? Suck dick. You wanna dress up like a girl? Dress up like a girl. You wanna dress up like a guy? Do that too. Do whatever the fuck you want in your own time by yourself. That's it. Being gay is not a gender anyway? No, but the argument is that people are born gay. And what I'm saying is that if you are born trans or you are born gay, that does not change my perspective on the issue, because ultimately a person has the right to free expression, and that is separate from what somebody's immutable characteristics are. Does that make sense? You can't be born trans, though? I'm saying that that argument is irrelevant to me. Like, I don't care about that. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no... That doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't mean anything to me.
But it's how we handle that.
That's right.
I mean, and I think we would agree that, children, and this is where America is now an outlier country. We're the only country that went full, and I guess Trump is reversing it, but certainly under Biden, who went fully toward that. Like, we don't care what age, kids can self-diagnose themselves. I mean, that to me was going way too far on this. Again, nobody just comes back to the sensible center.
Yep. I mean, to me, the sensible center is that, like, you respect people, you trust parents, you let parents figure out what to do with their kids, and you don't need a...
No, it's not. You don't believe that at all. Like, if you were talking about kids consenting to doing anything that was sexual, you'd be immediately against it. If you were talking about kids consenting to get tattoos, you'd be immediately against it. If you were talking about kids consenting to do anything else with their body that could be considered exploitative, like, for example, child labor, you'd be against it as well. This is just a retarded false premise that nobody actually believes in, and you're using this give parents the option idea as if this is some kind of get out of jail free card for justifying the behavior. But the fact is that it's not. It never has been. There are dozens of examples of it not being an example. You used to be able to sell your kids. You know, the year it became illegal to sell your kids, my dad was still fucking alive. Okay? It wasn't that long ago. And that was another thing that now is against the law that you can't do. So the entire premise that, oh, well, you know, it's your kid, you can do whatever you want with your kid, that's not true. And she knows that. This is totally stupid.
A bunch of politicians in Washington making decisions about
That is not the Democratic position.
It's not a bunch of politicians making decisions for kids. What do you mean it's not a bunch of politicians? I wonder what her position was on vaccines. Oh, that's different. Of course, everything's always different whenever you agree with it, which is why you can't make sweeping judgments like that. This is a stupid statement that's supposed to get people to clap because they don't want to have the government telling them what to do. But the fact is that she does want the government telling you what to do, but she just wants to be the one telling you what to do and not somebody else. That's the reason. It's just so one-dimensional and stupid that it's amazing that anybody can't see through this. It's hypocritical? Of course it is. It's hypocritical and self-serving.
Here in California.
Well, that's my position.
Yeah, I'll listen to it again one more time.
Reversing it, but certainly under Biden,
Yeah.
who went fully toward that. Like, we don't care what age, kids can self-diagnose themselves. I mean, that to me was going way too far on this. Again, nobody just comes back to...
It's not to you, by the way. This is to 90% of the country. This is a sick, very deranged, small, single-digit percentage of people that think this is normal.
The sensible center.
Yep. I mean, to me, the sensible center is that, like, you respect people, you trust parents, you let parents figure out what to do with their kids, and you don't need a bunch of politicians in Washington making decisions about
That is not the Democratic position, at least here in
An
California.
outrageous oversimplification, an intentional oversimplification, in order to make people think that the government doesn't make millions of decisions like this for people. I think it is outrageous, absolutely fucking out. She's a moron. Well, she is saying the thing that she has to say. She is a Democrat senator from Minnesota. Right? In my opinion, I wonder how many immigrants that they have over there from Mexico or wherever else, South America. And I wonder what her viewpoints on that are. It's probably, it's intellectually dishonest. Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. And so there you go. That's it, bro. You got it? Yeah, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Dan Patrick assaulted a reporter. What a fucking lot. That's Tim Walz's turf. Yeah, I guess so. And she's sitting on a political fence. Minnesota has a massive migrant population. Is that true? I wasn't aware of that. If that is true, I didn't know that. I actually assumed the opposite. So I could be wrong. But anyway, let's see here if I can find the rest of it. But yeah. And we refer to as Minnesotans. Tim Walz is an idiot. Yeah, I guess so. But either way, yeah, the Supreme Court ruled that a woman is a woman. Can you believe that? That's crazy. Wow.
There's a hyperpolarization happening among the younger generation that's substantially more pronounced than the older generation. And the younger generation is substantially more considering violence than the older generation did.
Well, that's because the younger generation feels like voting doesn't work. That's the problem, is that, so this is the big issue, is that, so number one, obviously you have like media and things like that push it. But whenever you have to choose between a douchebag and a turd sandwich every 4 years, and then maybe every once in a while you think that you're going to get what you want, and then you don't. Obama promises change, and then changes his mind with like ending the wars and like, Afghanistan and stuff. This is going to frustrate a lot of people. Yeah, that's it.
So when you look at the polls, it's really interesting how the polarization expands.
I can see that.
Yeah. So, I would say like the bulk of our viewers are probably in their 30s. So we have 18-year-olds too, but they're a smaller percentage. But basically,
sure.
25 to 54 who watches us.
So, yeah, he has the same people that watch me. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Got a lot of people in their 30s.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is, and this is true for people on the left, the right, doesn't matter who you are, someone's going to take something you said, it's going to be pulled out of context,
Of course.
and then it makes people go nuts. So, there's so many of these things that are absolutely wild for me. So I don't have the worst of it. There's other people in media that have it substantially worse than I do. Their Wikipedia pages are just rife with weird, fake nonsense that's made up.
I mean, I just don't feel like anybody in this country can even presume that what people think about them is anywhere near the truth.
No, the thing is, same goes for Republicans. No, and I think that's the case. Is that I think that people have become tired of how cumbersome the political process is, and how often they vote for something and then they don't get it. And it's like, if all the people want this, but there's some system or some rule that says that we can't have it, well, why can't we just change the system or the rule? Because ultimately, like, the system or the rule was made by people, so why can't you unmake that rule? And so, and that, no way, right? Exactly. And I think that's the main reason why people are fucking annoyed.